Hi BookTube, and welcome to a new video. This won't be a very long one. It's a rarity, it's a TBR video because we are approaching non-fiction November. My favourite reading challenge of the year because I don't read much non-fiction, even though I'm an author of fiction. I tend not to read or devour whole books for research. So this is run by a book olive, and I shall post the link to her announcement video for the challenge for the month of November. So as of today, which is the 17th of October, I've read 112 books this year, of which just 7 have been non-fiction. It's about 6% of all my reading. And 2 of those are sort of indulgent reads, really. One was one of those in the 33 1/3 RPM series about the making of classic albums, and this was a book about the Minutemen's double album called Double Nickels on the Dime, one of my favourite albums, about 35 years old now. So I read that book. And the other was Letters from David Markson to the poet Laura Sims, David Markson being my favourite author. So if you take those 2 out, which as I say are sort of slightly indulgent, just for Mark Nash type of non-fiction reads, I've only read 5 out of 112 non-fiction books. So the point of this challenge, or read along or whatever, readathon I should say, is that you're just encouraged to read more non-fiction than you would normally read within the month of November. And there are 4 prompts. You can either do them or not, it's entirely up to you. And they're 1-word prompts, which leaves them very broadly open to interpretation, which is another thing I particularly like about this readathon. And the 4 words are element, border, record, and secret. So if we get to element, my choice for that is Tristan Gooley's How to Read Water, Clues and Patterns from Puddles to the Sea. Now I bought this in early summer because I have a writing project, although it won't be my next one to completion, but I have written 10,000 words on it, something like that, I've provisionally entitled it Bodies of Water. So this is absolutely a bit of research, more sort of curiosity really, sort of a metaphorical, sort of matching the metaphorical to actual facts about water and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I mean, notionally, water is made up of 2 elements, H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, but of course it was one of the 4 fundamental essences of matter in the ancient world, which was fire, water, air and earth. So I'm counting this as element. Now on to record. This is David Boyd Haycock's Mortal Coil, A Short History of Living Longer, bought at the same time as this when I went second-hand book shopping with Zena over at Beating Around the Books in London. And this kind of does what it says on the tin, A Short History of Living Longer, so man's perpetual quest for immortality. Obviously we've not yielded full results, but we have sort of pushed back the average age of death, and this is a record of that. So this is why I'm counting this as record. And the next one was border. So this is John Gray, Straw Dogs, and it says thoughts on humans and other animals. So this is sort of on the philosophy wing, and it's, I haven't read it, so I could be wrong, but I'm assuming it's looking at the border between where man's sort of physical, where man's sort of animalistic, instinctual nature goes into the supposedly more enlightened and civilized and moral, Homo sapiens behaviour. But from a philosophical point of view, I suspect rather than a sort of data-driven, sciencey type. But so I'm looking forward to this. This was sent to me by one of my commenters, Mitchell Axler, really highly recommended. So I'm looking forward to reading that. So those 3 are already had in my collection. The last one, Secret, I didn't have anything readily that matched that. I'm not I don't read memoirs, which would seem to be the most obvious form of secrets revealed in somebody's personal memoir. So I've gone for another sort of nature stroke philosophy, although this is much more on nature, I think, sort of in the same vein as that. And it's Colin Tudge's The Secret Life of Trees, which came out to huge acclaim and huge love a couple of years ago maybe. and I'm very ready to read that now. I've ordered it, so I don't actually have it as yet. And then I do have a backup in case I abandon one of those reads, or it turns out it doesn't really match, the prompt that well, which is perfectly possible. And that's Animal Bodies on Death, Desire and Other Difficulties by Suzanne Roberts. So again, you'll see my twin track interests of philosophy and sort of nature. Would you call it nature writing? I'm not sure. Suzanne Roberts is an essayist, so this is a book of essays and impressions on these themes rather than a sort of one through flow of argument. So that's kind of on my reserve list. Whether I'll get to it or not, or whether it replaces one of the others, we'll have to wait and see. So that's it. That is my proposed TBR for November's non-fiction November. There are 4 books. Obviously, I tend to average between 8 and 10 a month, so I will be interspersing that with fiction. And as much as I enjoy non-fiction November, I always do have to keep reading fiction, because that's the passion, that's what nourishes me. So there will be, as I say, fiction books interspersed with that. So there you have it. Thanks very much, and I'll report back at the end of November. Till next time.